Hey everybody, this is Perch. Hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. I did not. I didn't watch it. I'm one of those. What can I say? No, I look. I'm not an anti-football or anything like that. Quite the contrary. Been to tons and tons of games over the years, but if there's two teams playing I don't terribly care about, I've not. It doesn't work for me. I know some people are like, I want to see the spectacle. I care about the game, even though it's not one of the teams I follow. I still want to watch it. I'm not that guy. So I don't know. Anyway, good for the Chiefs. I said the Eagles would probably win. So always bet against Perch. That's Perch. Perchington is not your sports guy for projection. I did pick the World Cup though. Anyway, uh, there you have it. The commercials. I still find it bizarre. By the way, the whole thing about I just watch them for the commercials. The commercials are on YouTube. What do you? I mean that's weird. It's very very weird. All right. Um, all right. So we get to this mail. Who could do it? Okay, who? That's good. It says, Dear Perch, not Perch Perchington. Dear Mr. Perch P. Perchington. There you go. It sounds fancy. I'll get right to the point. Besides Marvel and DC, which comic company would be in the best position to both implement and benefit from expanding their physical distribution channels, embracing digital, and improving their marketing? Would this company be able to surpass Marvel or DC in terms of sales if they made these changes? So, which company besides Marvel and DC? Well, it's a complicated answer, but here goes. So, first off, any company that could successfully pull off expanding distribution and fixing digital and kind of really understanding those channels would beat Marvel and DC, and it would be pretty quick to do it. It would be pretty easy. If you look at BookScan, you look at the numbers. One thing that even the people who are still like, nah, there's nothing wrong here. There's nothing wrong in comics. Nothing wrong at all. Even those people have admitted that Scholastic and manga are definitely outselling Marvel and DC at the moment. Now, again, to be very, very specific with the terms, not from a licensing perspective. Batman, Spider-Man, and Perch still goes great. All the MCU stuff, but if you take away the benefit of the movies, so meaning the movie money and the licensing money, you're just talking about comics publishing, just publishing. And by the way, yeah, you are just talking about publishing, but if you started to get wide distribution and started to take that position in the market, suddenly you'd be amazed what kind of licensing opportunities open up for you. And while things wouldn't change overnight, let some small independent company that really gets stacked together, has some really good licensable, merchandisable characters, let them loose for 15 years. And yeah, a lot of things could happen in that about a time frame. I mean, right now, I was reading a report that the manga licensing, the like Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, Spy X Family was one they were focusing on. That we haven't yet seen the height of licensing and merchandising from manga, and that this year, 2023, and particularly next year, and I don't quite understand why I have to wait a year for this to really kick in, but whatever. They say 2023, 2024 is going to more than quadruple, 4x, the amount of manga licensing, toys, shirts, characters on things, in all the rest, the deals that are being signed with Amazon Prime, and I mean, even hell, speaking of Super Bowl, things like Tubi, all that kind of stuff, that we're going to see just far more exposure. Now, the commentary is like, oh, it's going to lead to overexposure and the whole thing's going to tip over. It might, certainly might. But right now, it looks nice. So good for them. Anyway, that stuff did. But right now, we're just talking about publishing. So could a company that gets their stuff together beat Marvel and DC quickly? They could do it quickly. Viz came along relatively quickly, and I mean, Scholastic had a powerhouse behind it. But when you look at what's been done, I mean, I got some numbers from some of the Tonkabon little manga that's being distributed right now in Target and in Walmart, and the print runs on this stuff are insane. Greater than 1 million, greater. It's nuts, the kind of stuff that's going on there. And I mean, you look, you just if you get that part right, the money opens up. So who could do it? Well, the first obvious one to look at is Image. So Image could do it. In fact, in many ways, Image, it would be a power move on its part, because if it could start offering to the creators that come into Image the ability to have better distribution, meaning, in addition to kind of the creative freedom that you get when you bring your book to Image and everything else, we have channels. We've worked out, basically better channels, better abilities. You do have to put your book in this format, whatever it happens to be. There'll be some requirements certainly to get into that market. But if Image was able to bring that as part of their value prop to the creators coming in, it would be game over. Interestingly enough, not only would they make tons of money, but that would wreck and dominate comics, because what would happen is no creator, I mean, every creator would go to Image. Image would be the number one first spot you would go to always. You would start there. They have because they have the reputation, and because they have some of the market clout that they do, if you add in, crossover distribution into box stores and, quote unquote, the newsstand, there's creators would be insane not to. And at that point, you'd see all the talent go there. But that said, I don't think Image has the people or the kind of domain expertise and knowledge to really carry this off. And that sounds shitty to say. I mean, there's really bright people at Skybound, of course. That's not Image, but really bright people at Eric Stevenson. There's people who are really smart in that field, but you do get kind of the feeling that if they could have done it, they would have done it. Image, in terms of a digital strategy, Image is right there in, Portland and the Pacific Northwest, which is, I mean, you walk around and you trip over technologists there. You've got people who can do this. The puzzling bit for Image is why they haven't done more. In fact, of all the companies, Image is probably the weirdest for me, just from my vantage point of why didn't Image do more innovative things in terms of, they got real cozy immediately with Diamond. They didn't lead at all on digital. It's like they came out and they said, hey, we're gonna create a better place for creators to take their work and have some creative freedom, and then that's where they stopped. So, just that's it. It's very puzzling to me at all. So then you get past Image, then who's next? I think Boom is probably your next likely candidate, and Boom's probably the one that's in the position to take advantage of this. Right now, Boom has done a really effective job of getting stuff into big bulk orders. So they're already, in theory, operationally, they're ready for bigger orders in bigger places. They don't have the same level of creator freedom that Image does, or at least the reputation that Image does. But they do have some decent names there. They have some big hits. The other challenge with the Boom, I think, is that they don't have the breadth of content. Now that could be easily fixed, but in terms of being able to meet kind of the different genres, the different areas that you would need to really go at the market, I think they would need to expand a little bit. Boom strikes me as a company that has a lot of the right elements, and they haven't been willing to put some of the capital where it needs to be to make this happen. And also, it's this could be really shitty to say because I don't know the individual at all. So my definite apologies in advance. From a retailer's perspective, from an outside looking in perspective, the marketing of Boom feels like they almost succeed in spite of themselves a lot of the time. I think that they get some good creators, they get some good things going, but they seem extremely slow to capitalize on some of the progress they make. And the messaging is just I'll put it this way: it just takes a little bit too much work to really kind of embrace Boom's lineup. And given kind of the strength of the company, the brand, the books they're putting out, the people involved, everything else, it's odd. If you compare them to, hell, even smaller companies like Mad Cave or Scout, these tiny little companies, even people like that, their message on their books is clearer. Now, they don't have anywhere close to the amount of content and, creator star power and other things that Boom has, but it's just those companies just do better job with what they've got, if that makes any sense. For a retailer, it's just easier to understand what they're offering month in and month out. Just easier. And I don't get, I don't get it. So, I would say, Image has a right to win. They're not playing. Boom has probably an even bigger, right to win. But there's like, it's like there's a missing person in that company. Like they need a person who really can drive some of these initiatives, new business, opportunities. But they've done a good job with the big bulk orders and some of the stuff they've done. So I mean, they understand where they need to go. It's just something is missing there. Beyond that, in terms of other companies, I mean, in theory, you would have believed that Amazon would have been able to take their originals and do more with it. That was another case. I would say Dark Horse, but Dark Horse, at some point you also have to look at some of these companies that have been playing for Christ, how long? I mean, 30 years, and you have to go, all right, you would have figured it out by now if you were going to figure it out. So I think there's that, but really what it comes down to is people. They're missing some people. They're missing kind of the right bias of a person to go in and really maximize this business opportunity. And that's the missing piece. Until they have that, they're everybody is suffering. Right now, I guess the exciting part about it is it's anyone's game. I think anyone who comes in and has a nice disciplined, approach to it, but works with some speed and aggression, I think that, I think you could win. The crazy part is you can absolutely see almost any of the companies out there in 3 years, if they pushed on this. I mean, the crazy part is if you sign one of these deals with the big chains, you instantly go. I mean, you're talking about a buy-in of 50,000 copies just overnight. Congratulations, you now have a book that's doing better than the majority of Marvel and DC's lineup, just instantly. This is anyone's game to win. If you could really get a system down, a system of trust where you had some books, they're marketed and managed properly, the spine was there. It was like you had a good portfolio of material, and you were just able to kind of clock it out. You would win it within 1 year. The business would tip. That's crazy. There's very few industries that are like that. Anyway, thank you very much for the question. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And thanks for listening.